There are so many different types of discrimination, including things like discrimination based on race, class, culture, sex, gender, and other factors as well. And sometimes we can consider these things in isolation. But what happens when someone experiences multiple forms of discrimination at the same time? What happens when we have overlapping areas of discrimination? Well, one of the things that can happen is that we have individuals in our society that have characteristics that can result in them facing discrimination in multiple different areas. For example, we can have a person who lives in a society that discriminates on them because of their gender, because of their culture, and also because of their race. Right in the centre, we have this level of extreme overlap, right at the intersection. Why is it important to consider this intersection? Well, because at this intersection, where there are multiple different categories of potential discrimination or oppression, this is where they may compound and interplay in this one individual and really significantly put her at a disadvantage within society. In order to understand the level of disadvantage that she has, we need to understand all three of these factors together, not separately. We need to focus at the point that these multiple different areas of potential discrimination overlap with one another and exist alongside one another. This is basically what intersectionality is. This is what is argued by the black legal feminist scholar called Kimberly Crenshaw in 1989, who was actually the one to coin the term intersectionality. In her essay, she basically claims that black women face unique oppression as both women and people of colour, yet are rendered pretty much invisible in analysis of either gender oppression or racism, since the former focuses primarily on the experiences of white women and the latter focuses on black men. So, how can we understand the oppression that black women face? We need to look at how their oppressions as women and their oppressions as people of colour intersect with one another. Since 1989, intersectionality has expanded beyond this idea of the intersections of race and gender oppression, and now it explains all sorts of combinations that oppressions are faced by people every day. For example, Angela Davis expands upon Crenshaw's analysis of how race and gender oppression intersects with one another by throwing class oppression into the mix as well. She argues not only that sexism and racism are connected, but also things like racism and class oppression are connected, and that sexism and class oppression are connected as well. In fact, there are almost endless combinations of various oppressions that can intersect with each other to produce really unique oppressions. These really cannot be understood simply by looking at the oppressions separately. Intersectionality, then, by looking at the connections between various oppressions, allows us to really understand the very unique but very real oppressions that are felt by different people all around the world.